On what was moving the markets, Julia Lee joins us from Bell Direct. Julia, good to talk to you. Now, the Aussie market managing to finish well in the black today.
Friday, it ended up being quite a good day for the Australian share market with a rise of 0.7%. As you can see from the intraday graph behind me, from around about 1 o'clock we saw the market climb, and then we ended up finishing on the highs of the day with the ASX 200 at 4,332 points. That 4,345.50 point mark really does seem to be a barrier for the market. We've been talking about this barrier for the last couple of weeks now, and it's acted as resistance for the market. This is the third time we've come up to almost that level, and it looks like the market is having some difficulty getting past that ceiling. So still, the target for the market is finishing above that 4,350 point mark, and we still face a considerable resistance at that line behind me. On our market today was really a battle between the miners as well as the banks, and in the end the banks ended up winning out. We saw gains of up to 2.2% by the big four banks, and they really helped support our market. But miners were a real drag on our market, but they did improve by the end of the session. Around about halfway during our session, we got some important data out of China. We got industrial production numbers, and they came in worse than expected. The market was expecting to see an increase of 11.5%. We only saw an increase of 10.8%. We did see a slight decline in the Australian miners BHP Billiton Rio Tinto, but in the afternoon, bouncing back. That talk about Fortescue close to a deal with China, probably helping those iron ore stocks on our market today. It was also earnings season, so earnings very much in focus, and we saw Primary and Cochlear come out with their earnings results in the healthcare sector. We saw Primary, though, down by almost 2%, and Cochlear losing just 0.2% during the session. About $4.7 billion worth of stock trading hands. And I guess we're starting to look towards the session tomorrow in Australia, and it's going to be a big one with Commonwealth Bank as well as BHP Billiton reporting.
Yeah, very busy. Now, Flight Centre, just tell us a bit more about this one. Best performer today by a mile after that update.
An absolutely incredible performance by Flight Centre with a huge gain today, a jump of 21.7%. Let me just bring up the last few trading sessions in Flight Centre, and you can see how huge that jump actually was. And the good news is that we actually finished near the highs of the day. Now, Flight Centre has been battling a pretty difficult market, and the way they've tried to combat it is by cutting costs, having a leaner business model. And if we have a look at what they've come out with, I guess some areas that are doing well is their youth segment and their online segment. We know they've been struggling because if we have a look at the US division, which they've been having quite a few problems in the first 3 quarters of the year, we actually saw a trading loss of 24 million. The good news is that in the 4th quarter, it does look like that division has been able to break even. So it does look like sales are starting to stabilise for Flight Centre. So they've come out, reiterated their guidance for the full year. Net profit expected to be $36 to $40 million. Now, on a side note, not only did Flight Centre do well with a gain of almost 22%, but Qantas also gaining ground. Flight Centre saying that it has managed to come to reasonable commercial terms with Qantas, and of course that's been good news for Qantas's share price, up almost 5% today as well.
And just finally, a result, or a very good result for JB Hi-Fi.
JB Hi-Fi is one of these companies that has been a favourite of the Australian market and analysts for a long time, and the reason is that it continues to outperform expectations, and today was absolutely no different. Now, JB Hi-Fi's own profit guidance was for $92 million. They've come in ahead of that, a rise of 45%. So that's been good news. Also, if we have a look at their sales has seen an increase of 27%, but of course the market's more interested in the outlook, but the outlook looking pretty rosy as well, saying that sales should increase by 20% in the current financial year. If we have a look at JB Hi-Fi's share price today, an amazing performance with a gain of 8.7%. And if we have a look at 2009 so far, these shares are up by a massive 76%. So if I bring up the chart for JB Hi-Fi, this is in 2009. You can see a almost perfect chart there with a rise of 76%. Now, if you're looking for any negatives in this story, it's hard to find, but if we have a look at their margins, their margins on a yearly basis have actually come down by about 22 basis points to 21.6%, but that's still in line with their half-year margins, so just stable from their half-year results. Also, the New Zealand market looks a little bit challenging for this company, but a great result, and the shares up by almost 9% today.
And Julia, I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions to answer from viewers tonight about the share market and different stocks and sectors on Your Money, Your Call, of course.
8 p.m. tonight. Thanks, Friday.
Thanks, Julia. See you then.
See you then.